on Casino Royale with cheese.
I did love I need a program to fly a helicopter.
Yeah.
So download that program for me real quick.
Would you trade off having plugs in your head, like in the back of your head and on your arms and shit like that, if you could just have knowledge uploaded into your brain?
So, all right. So the real answer to this, and it's not going to be popular, but yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I do not give a fuck about a plug.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because we're lazy fucks.
That is true. If I can just absorb the knowledge without having to learn any of it,
or work at all,
fucking down for that. Yeah. Oh, look, I'm a doctor. That took fucking 30 seconds. Yeah.
It's because you and me both want to be smart and capable, but we don't want to be hardworking.
No, that's the worst.
And now, the conclusion.
Houston, we have a problem.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
A boy's best friend is his mother.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Silent Green is people!
Yo, Adrian!
Let's put a smile on that face.
I gotta warn you, Clark. They don't play the same games here as they do at the regular casinos.
Royale, too.
69, dudes!
Coming to you live from a Circle K in San Dimas, California, it's Casino Royale with Cheese. Now introduce your most triumphant host, Shane Burns.
Thank you, announcer. Thank you, crowd. Thank you, everybody. This is Casino Royale with Cheese, the internet show where we discuss movies that were number one at the box office exactly 20 years ago. Once again, my name is Shane. And today I am joined by the man who would definitely have Beethoven arrested for playing the piano. This is Mike.
I would not do that.
I didn't understand that part of the movie.
I don't get it at all either.
All right, Beethoven. We've had just about enough out of you.
It's enough awesomeness. You gotta go to the slammer.
You're coming with me, sir. Yeah. What a fucking couple of dicks, dude. How's it going, bro?
Pretty chill. Can't complain. Yeah, I'm alive and healthy. I'm a little fat, but I'm healthy.
Yeah. I'm not super healthy, but yeah.
I'm actually super excited. It's officially 1 week away from the beginning to the end of Game of Thrones.
Ooh, yeah. Are you guys playing catch up on that just to refresh?
We finished. So we started not this past Monday, but the Monday before that. So just shy of 2 weeks. Tomorrow will be 2 weeks. And we've watched 5 seasons. And we have season 6 and 7 to get through this week. And that'll be prime for Sunday, the start of season 8.
How many episodes would you say are we talking between those 2 seasons?
20.
20?
Yeah.
You think you can do that in a week?
We just watched 50 in 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. That's not bad.
We watched 0 last weekend because we had guests in town.
Right.
So that's 50 on just weekdays.
Wow. You guys have a lot of time, seems like.
We stay up late.
Well, that is true. You guys do stay up later, way later than us. And you only have that one child, so.
Well, we put her she's normally in bed by 9 o'clock.
Sure.
And so we watch from 9 to 2.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, knock out a handful that way.
5.
That's crazy. Yeah. No, I require way more sleep than that. So, I guess that's my big
4 to 5 hours of sleep a night, period.
Yeah. Well, there you go, man.
And my bride likes to nap, so.
Right. Of course. So Mike, you picked a movie this week. This is week number 2 of The Matrix, correct?
Yes. Correct.
Yes. What did you pick and why?
I picked Bill and Ted's Most Excellent Adventure.
And the why should be pretty obvious, but
yeah, I was watching The Matrix thinking, this is the same dude from Bill and Ted.
Yeah. Have you seen this plenty of times? How familiar are you with this movie?
Well, I happen to know this movie came out around 89.
Yeah.
Which would have put me, like, somewhere in elementary school, like the 5th grade.
Okay.
And I watched it not on the theater, but, you know, upon tape release, rental release or whatever. And this was one for at least the first couple of years there that when my parents were like, do you want me to get a movie for you? I would pick this one.
There you go.
But outside of childhood, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I understand. There's a lot of stuff for a little boy like that to get into with this movie. It's just a cool movie. The centerpiece for the whole thing is this rock band, you know? So that's
Wild
cool.
Stallions.
Yeah, hell yeah. You got time travel, which is really cool. It was made more popular recently by Back to the Future, so everybody was really getting into it at that point, you know? Mm-hmm. I love both Keanu Reeves and Jason Winter. I think they're great in this movie. It makes me kind of feel bad that I haven't seen more of Jason Winter's other stuff that he's done.
I'm not familiar.
No, it looks like he's done a lot of TV stuff, be it TV movies, TV episodes, you know.
A lot of Lifetime.
Sort of yeah, the only other thing I've seen him in besides this was The Lost Boys, and he didn't even have a speaking part. So he just kind of showed up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know he's in Bogus Journey.
He is. Well, yeah, obviously I've seen that.
And he's coming back for part 3.
Part 3. Yeah. Apparently him and Keanu Reeves are like old buddies. Like they were friends before this movie came out, which is pretty cool.
Righteous.
Yeah, totally excellent. I think so. This movie, it was a bit of a success at the time. It was a bit of a sleeper success, but
was it ever number 1?
That's what I'm looking at right here because I didn't look at that.
You're supposed to look at that pre-show.
I did. I am. No, it never was number 1 at the box office.
Not
it was,
really
however. Yeah, it was made on a budget of $10 million.
That's easy to see.
Yeah. Do you dare to guess how well it fared at the box office overall, Mike?
$48 million.
You're actually pretty close, believe it or not. It totaled $40,485,039. So, you know, within $8 million. It's pretty good.
What's crazy is I feel like we could make this movie with our iPhones now.
I kind of think you might be onto something. This movie, as far as from an editing standpoint, editing is so much easier now than it used to be, especially like the editing whenever they cross over in between scenes in this movie, like the fading and stuff like that. Dude, 2 mouse clicks and you can do that. You know, that's nothing.
Oh, yeah.
And so just all that stuff, like filmmaking's advanced to a point so that I actually appreciate the overall like crappy looking film stock and stuff like that of the movie because it gives it that 80s look that you could only try to simulate nowadays. But you could have something that would probably look better than this just on a Mac. And that's pretty much it. I mean, you'd have to go get a phone booth from somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be your trick in this movie is where the hell do you find a phone booth?
Oh, man, you'd be looking in every dump, you know. I have no idea. I actually try to actively seek out phone booths. And what's crazy is they really don't even have very many at the airport anymore. It's nuts, man.
Well, they got rid of the booth a long time ago. Even if you do find a payphone, it's one of those ones that just kind of hangs on a wall.
Right, exactly. And even that's going to be something in like a crappy old bar or something. So, who knows?
It probably doesn't work.
Probably doesn't work, no. I remember whenever I was a youngin', I didn't see this until it actually aired on TV. And so back in the day, we didn't have cable. We lived like way on the outskirts of town. So we went through and had just local cable channels, that sort of thing. Uh-huh. And so with the local channels, we pretty much had to choose from 5 channels what we wanted to watch. And so as it turns out, we went through and this, like every weekend, it seemed like they would play Bill and Ted, the first one and the second one. So
they don't have to do any editing to put it on TV.
Not really. They do drop the homophobic F word there, I noticed.
That's the one spot in the whole movie that I would say would not work today.
Yeah. I know that what I think is weird too is at one point Napoleon is shouting the word shit in French, and he says it like 8 times in a row, and I think it's when they leave him at the bowling alley. And so I don't know if that would slide or not, though, because what's crazy about that is actually back in Star Trek The Next Generation, Patrick Stewart's character, Captain Picard, was supposed to be French, even though he's British, so that doesn't make any sense anyway. But he actually said it on TV like back in 1987. So I don't know if foreign profanity like that could make it on TV.
I guess if you don't put a subtitle underneath it, you'd be all right.
Right. Yeah. That's the only thing I could think of. But yeah. So I watched it a lot. I actually recorded it on VHS, and I would watch it all the time. I appreciate the first one and the second one. And if you want, I can elaborate on that a little bit.
Sure, why not?
Well, let's go through the cast first, and then we'll go through people's opinions on things.
All right. Well, we got my boy Keanu.
Of course, I love him. Alex Winter. Is that what I was calling him earlier?
Who?
I don't remember. Alex Winter?
No, you're calling him Chris Winter, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, Alex Winter, that's who I meant. George Carlin.
Love him.
Rest in peace, sir. You're pretty awesome. The rest of these guys I wasn't super familiar with. Was Terry Camilleri was Napoleon. Billy the Kid was some dude I never heard of. The only one that kind of threw me for a second was the dad. And I could have swore that he was like a super young version of the dad that was on Step Brothers. But I looked it up and he wasn't.
No, definitely not the same guy. Socrates, the guy who played Socrates, has been in some stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who is that? Socrates. I do like Socrates a lot in this movie. Let me see. Tony Steedman. He was in Scrooged, it looks like.
Okay.
Babylon 5. There you go. Married with Children, so Jared would know all about him, probably. He was on Doogie Howser. It looks like he did a bunch of TV stuff, too. Golden Girls. The Beauty and the Beast with Ron Perlman. So those are the big ones, I guess.
All right.
This movie, I don't think, had a super big budget to spend on a lot of big name actors at the time, because even Keanu Reeves wasn't a big name.
You didn't need to.
No. I don't think something like I kind of actually, as easy as it is to make movies nowadays, it kind of surprises me that they don't take like a movie that they can make on the cheap like this, and then maybe crank out. I mean, kind of almost like the District 9 thing, where they spend $30 million and they just throw a little bit more money in the advertising campaign and actually make money on this thing. But nowadays, every movie has to be $250 million. And so if there's a bomb at the box office, it just sinks like a turd,
Well, it seems like today, the only movies that are being made are comic book movies.
Yeah. Star Wars movies.
Biopics.
And the occasional Disney live action remake.
Oh, yeah. We got a whole season of those coming up.
Oh, lordy.
And I'm going to watch them all.
Apparently, Dumbo's really sucking it at the box office, though. It is not doing well. That's the only one that I was super interested in seeing, really.
I'm definitely going to watch it.
Yeah.
I'll probably own it on DVD.
Yeah, probably.
Same
You
with
get into those though quite a
the
bit.
Lion King and
You're all about the Jungle Book and all that shit.
I like Disney, man.
Yeah.
Come at me, bro.
I'm not mad, you know. But yeah, so something like this would be more of an indie movie type thing, and nobody'd ever hear about it unless you go to like film festivals. That's pretty much where it would die nowadays.
Definitely make this in a high school film class, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Probably in less time than it took these guys, I would venture to guess. But
you got a summary for us?
I do have a summary. Let's take a look here, see what we got. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, released February 17th, 1989, is the brainchild of writers Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon, the latter of which is responsible for Super Mario Brothers, the movie, and Charlie's Angels. Ugh. As the film opens, we're introduced to high school students Bill S. Preston and Ted Theodore Logan, two slackers who are far more interested in their band, Wild Stallions, than they are their failing history grade. Their only chance of redemption is to get an A+ on their final oral history report. Otherwise, upon their failure, Ted's dad, the local police chief, will send him off to military school in Alaska, therefore breaking up the band. The two, screwed as they may be, are given an opportunity, though, when a traveler from the future named Rufus offers his time machine a phone booth so they can retrieve various historical figures for their report. The trio visits Napoleon-ruled France, inadvertently taking Napoleon back to 1988. Bill and Ted's next retrieval is that of Billy the Kid, then Socrates. The two then become enamored with two English princesses. After that distraction is over, however, they then proceed to obtain Sigmund Freud, Ludwig von Beethoven, Joan of Arc, Genghis Khan, and Abraham Lincoln. Let me scroll down. Yeah. After returning to 1988, Bill and Ted attempt to track down Napoleon, while the other historical figures get a chance to experience the mall and modern-day American life. Their inability to blend in, however, soon lands them in jail. Bill and Ted use Ted's dad's stolen keys to break the historical figures out of jail just in enough time to make it to school to deliver the history report. The report is a success. They get an A+, and they drop off the historical figures back in their appropriate times, and the band is saved. Rufus soon arrives with the princesses in tow and expounds about the significance of Wild Stallions in the future. He states that the music the band made united humanity, and that's why keeping them together was so important. Rufus decides to jam with Bill and Ted, and even though the band has been saved, they still can't play worth a fuck. This movie stars John Wick and Marco.
Marco?
Yeah, apparently that's the name of his character in The Lost Boys.
Oh.
I don't think they ever call him by name in that, but yeah. So here's my thing with Bill and Ted, and I love Bill and Ted.
All right.
I like this movie a lot, and I think that it actually is a good companion piece with the second movie. I like them for different reasons, but I do think that this movie has some sections to it that I'm not as big a fan of as other people seem to be. I don't think that whenever they do the time traveling and they go to the Old West and they go to England and, you know, all this other shit, I don't find those times all that terribly interesting. And I don't think that what they do is all that funny there either. And in that, I actually kind of like the second movie better because the second movie is way sillier, way more over the top, and it just kind of maintains that same tone throughout. And that's my only thing about it.
Okay.
And it's not a popular opinion. Most people will tell you that the second one is way inferior, but I prefer it over the first one.
I haven't seen the second one in a really long time, so I can't really speak on it.
Well, stay tuned for that, because it's coming up soon.
But I can tell you that there's not a whole lot that actually happens in this movie.
A lot of it's a lot of filler, fluff, bullshit, really.
Most of the movie, okay? And yeah, it's silly, and it's fun, and I enjoy watching it, but there's not a lot going on. It's just a couple of young actors acting like surfer dudes, running around all the sound sets of Universal or Warner Brothers.
Right.
and then coming
and
back.
I think that's why they went with such generic times for them to go back to, is because they were on a budget and they were just using whatever sets they could find, pretty much.
Have you ever been to the Universal Studios?
No, never.
Okay,
never.
A lot of those generic style sets.
Yeah,
they don't take them down.
Yeah, they just leave them up.
And then they'll change them a little bit for the next Western show.
Right.
They'll change the facade slightly, or change the signs or the door a little bit, but for the most part, they keep the sets up.
Right. Well, that's why in the original Star Trek series, they would always go back to, there'd be like Nazis on a planet. And so that's because a bunch of Nazi shit had been made at that point. And there were a bunch of those sets, costumes and whatnot, Mm-hmm. It's all budgetary, man. But yeah.
I feel like the thing that could actually help this movie is a little bit more like consequence, because there's none in this movie.
Well, consequence for who?
Like the timeline for Bill and Ted.
You mean like messing around with time and stuff like that?
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been so smooth, I guess.
Yeah, and Bill and Ted are like, okay, for instance, when they go to the Wild West and get Billy the Kid, they're like sitting in the middle of the saloon during this bar fight, and no one's even looking at them twice.
Right. Well, that's true too. That is very true. I noticed in that scene, what's funny is they put Alex Winter on the bar, and the guy slides him down the thing, and his head busts through the wall. And then we see Keanu Reeves' head bust through the wall, and I was like, well, what's he sliding down? Because Winter was on the bar. There's nothing beside it for.
They just slammed his head in the wall.
Right.
But what's funny about that is when they're pulling him out to beat him up. Keanu, or Ted, I should say, tries to put his head back in the hole.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
It was pretty funny. It was a spot in the movie that made me chuckle.
Well, I remember this being a lot funnier than I think it ended up being. I was only kind of moderately paying attention anyway, because I don't know. It almost makes me feel bad, because I remember thinking this was so hilarious when I was like a teenager, but watching it now, it's definitely lighthearted and enjoyable and all that, but I didn't think it was as funny as I used to, I don't think.
Yeah, for sure. I'm the same. When I was young, damn, this shit had me dying.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know if it's just because of life experience and movies I've seen since then, or maybe I still connect with the material the way I did when I was a preteen.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I still like it, but I think I like it more for nostalgic purposes than the actual work itself.
See, that's kind of where I'm at. And there's some of this 80s shit in this movie that I love, like the whole opening credits, where that gold fucking thing is coming out of it almost looks like an album cover. It's crazy looking, and I love it.
And you have no idea what the fuck it is.
Oh, yeah. It's really fucking weird, but it's awesome looking. But, yeah, the whole 80s vibe, all that shit I love.
The synthesizer background music?
Yeah, it's great, man. Well, actually, I really like the soundtrack to this movie in general. And I'm going to go on record and say that the whole Play With Me by Extreme while they're running around doing shit in the mall and Beethoven's on the piano and all that shit, that's actually one of my favorite montages ever. Is them running around and doing just shit, getting in trouble.
Genghis Khan in the sports shop was hilarious.
Oh, it's awesome. I love it when he bounces off the trampoline. Fucking great.
He just fucking up that mannequin with the baseball bat.
Oh, yeah. Its head goes flying, man.
It's great because, that's probably what Genghis Khan would do if you handed him an aluminum baseball bat. The first thing he would do is see what kind of weapon it is. Right.
His made sense. Joan of Arc going in and looking at the aerobics thing. Was Joan of Arc into aerobics?
She was. I think, if I remember correctly, she's the founding mother of aerobics.
You're full of shit. You have no idea. Negative ghostwriter.
She doesn't even have a speaking line.
Yeah, no, I don't think she does.
She doesn't speak the entire movie.
She's really pretty, though. I'll say that for her.
Yeah, but she doesn't say one word.
No, she doesn't. So oh, that's funny.
Socrates has more speaking lines, and he doesn't speak either. He uses his
Socrates he's super cool. I love Socrates in this. Billy the Kid, I could take or leave. I do like Napoleon a lot in this movie. That dude's fucking awesome. Really, he's such an asshole.
Well, that's why
it's fucking great.
I can't stand him because they played him right.
Yeah, he was a fucking prick, dude.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
What do you think about Missy?
I think Missy's great, and the twist that they have with her gets a lot of criticism. Yeah, the twist that they pull on her in the second movie is quite amusing, and a lot of people talk shit, but I think it's funny. So we'll have to check that out later. But
I like how at the end when they're
some of those lines are great, by the way.
What are you talking about?
Whenever they're talking about Missy, and he's like, "Hey, remember when she was a senior and we were freshmen and all this?"
And I asked her to prom.
Yeah, he's like, "Shut up, Ted." Yeah. That's fucking awesome.
It is pretty hilarious.
Yeah. And that would be super weird. I'm pretty sure they fucked in his bedroom, in Bill's bedroom.
His dad and Missy, yeah.
Yeah. That's not cool, man. Why are you doing that?
For sure. That definitely went down.
Let's see here what we got.
What's your feel on the two princesses?
They're not characters. I mean, they're easy on the eyes, but that's about it.
I feel weird about them.
Really?
Yeah. You get these time travelers that show up into their time, and they're in love all of a sudden.
That's pretty strange, yeah.
Like, from the moment they see each other, they're in love. So much so that Rufus feels like it's okay to go back to the wherever time they're from and bring them back to Bill and Ted to stay forever. That's called human trafficking, Rufus.
It's pretty bad, yeah. Except there's no money being transacted, so... I kind of went a different route, man, because I was thinking about more so, like, these girls just hop through time. And I remember whenever I lived in New York and my family lived literally halfway across the country. And I was like, man, this sucks. I sure do wish, but technically I could hop on a plane at any time and go visit them. Yeah. If you're, what is it, fucking 1,500 years in the future, you're never going to see those fuckers again. Like, they sure went down with this super easily. I think that would kind of suck. But,
yeah. They traveled 1,500 years into the future and then just kissed the boys.
Yeah. Fuck our families. This is way better. Although the bubonic plague would be kind of a trade-off.
Oh, for sure.
After seeing the future, I would want to stay.
They definitely made an upgrade as far as, like, health concerns.
Right, yeah.
There's never been a safer time.
Right. I thought their teeth looked surprisingly good, actually. So, but anyway.
We mentioned it earlier, but there was a moment where the two guys hug, and they look at each other and yell the F word at each other.
Yeah. Don't say that.
I was, like, startled. Huh?
What? They drop that same word in the next movie, too.
They do?
So, yeah.
Same gag?
Yeah, well, different gag, but same punchline, I guess. Let's see here. Oh, the brother, Deacon, they actually reference him in the second movie.
Oh, the kid who's supposed to watch Napoleon?
Yeah. And then they ditched him.
They just left him, yeah.
Like, fuck this guy. That was super funny, man. Dude, they took him out for, like, an awesome time, too. They gave him a big old fat bowl of ice cream, took him bowling.
I don't like that scene.
Oh, what, the bowling?
The ice cream scene.
You don't like it?
Those servers are creepy as fuck.
Oh, yeah, that's bad. Like, they are all up in those dudes' business. It is pretty bad.
You piggy piggy.
Ziggy piggy. Why is he the only one wearing a bib? Like, they were all eating the ice cream.
I don't know.
That would be like if, I don't know, Like assuming like a big dude's getting the most food or something.
Well,
you know?
he's the only one who got a sticker for finishing it too.
Yeah, that is true.
I think
So,
it was
I don't
like
know.
one of those eating challenges.
Yeah, it could be. That's a pretty awesome one though. That'd
Oh
be cool.
God, shit my brains out for days.
You'd have a super bad headache after a little bit. But, the phone booth landing in between those two outhouses. It's awesome. That's a good little sight gag. I dug it. So here's kind of the problem that I have with this, though. So since I don't find this movie as humorous as I once did, a lot of this stuff that takes place when they go to England kind of loses it for me. I used to actually think, bless you.
Yeah, thanks.
I used to actually think that the scene where they go into the future was really cool. But I watched it now and I was just kind of, meh, whatever, you know.
Are those people supposed to be hovering?
I don't know. Those kind of. So here's my thing. Are you talking about the like it looked like them in Windows or whatever?
The three of them on the wall.
Oh, I don't know. I've always figured they just had big seats that were built up there.
But they're kind of floating up and down.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I don't know what the deal is. Were those supposed to be Bill and Ted posters in the future that could move? Or what exactly?
I have no idea.
Yeah, because it showed them a couple times. It showed like their CD cover, and it was moving. And so I was like, well, maybe that's the thing. But I don't know. It was pretty weird, that whole future scene. But a lot of that stuff, I do still like when they go to Greece.
Yeah.
For Socrates, and they do the whole like dust in the wind thing. That's pretty funny.
In the sands, like Days of Our Lives.
Yeah. So there's that. But a lot of the time travel stuff, whenever they go to the past, I don't find it that interesting. For me, the movie picks back up whenever they make it to present day and they have to go get him out of jail.
I actually appreciate that because they're finally used the time machine like the way you should use a time machine.
Right. Yes, sir.
So, like, they had this whole plan. Like, it's pretty clever the way they did that. But I don't understand why they didn't do that the rest of the movie.
Yeah, a lot of times that would have come in super handy. I don't understand.
And instead of chewing bubblegum with cavemen a million years ago.
Right. They're like, well, in the future, we went back and fixed it, and so now it's 100% better. And then it would just repair itself. So,
No.
I don't know.
The whole premise that these guys are the founding fathers for the future civilization based off of their music and everything, I don't get it.
They kind of expound on that a little bit in the second movie, but it shows the end of the movie when they finally become talented and they're able to play better and stuff, and everybody loves their music, and there's all this world peace that comes about because of it, you know, and whatever. So, I don't know. That would be like if you wanted to take what's his name, Flea from like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and be, all right, you're now supreme emperor of the world. You know,
Based off your sweet slap in the bass.
Right, he does slap on the bass. Anyway, yeah, putting them in charge of anything is definitely not a good idea, though. So, I will say that. The whole thing whenever they're in England and like I think it's Ted that falls down the stairs.
Correct.
And whenever he does so, the guy comes up and he like stabs the fucking armor that he's wearing, whatever, because he's wearing this knight's armor that they find. And so anyway, the guy stabs it, and then like all of a sudden Bill rolls up and he's like, oh no, they killed Ted, you know. And so like turns out Ted's fine. He's like, oh, I fell out of the armor whenever I fell down the stairs. Yeah. I was like, that's really stupid. I don't like that.
That's what I'm saying. There's no consequence at all for anything these guys do. They're just kind of stumbling through unscathed.
They kind of are, yeah.
And like, well, Socrates and Billy the Kid were smart enough to put on the executioner's outfits because they knew where this was going.
Right, of course. That's kind of the problem you run into with the movie in general, though, is they introduce Bill and Ted, the future versions of them, later on in the movie. So obviously these guys are joking and laughing and having fun. And most importantly, they're just fine. So you know early on in the movie that whatever you watch, these guys are never going to be in any actual danger. You know, even whenever Ted gets stabbed, you're like, well, he wasn't stabbed whenever we saw him earlier at the Circle K. So obviously this dude is just fine, you know?
One of the most interesting things to me about this movie is the water park.
Yeah.
I think they call it Waterloop.
Waterloo, yeah.
Waterloo?
Yeah.
That's a real place.
Yeah.
But it's called
The
Raging
major
Waters.
French battle there, the Battle of Waterloo.
No. I'm talking about the water park.
Oh, the park. Oh.
Yeah. It's
Well,
a real
that's
place.
awesome.
It's called Raging Waters, and it is in San Dimas, California.
Oh. I didn't even know San Dimas was a real place. So.
Yeah. Well, I grew up.
Go figure.
I lived in several places in California, but like elementary age, I lived in Pomona, California, which is a neighboring town to San Dimas.
Oh, that's the one they mentioned in Die Hard. That's where Bruce Willis was going to stay, was in Pomona. Yeah. So that's made its trip around the cinema too. That's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, there's no consequence. And it's kind of disappointing that any sort of tension that they might have at some point is somehow deflated. In comparison to Back to the Future, on the other hand, there's a lot of suspense in that movie. It's not just humor, you know? So.
Well, it's all driven based off of consequence.
Of course.
Like, that's Doc Brown's big thing.
Yeah. He's not in Hill Valley 1955 for 20 minutes before he's already fucked himself, you know? Pretty much. So. Yeah. I wrote down they're about to have a busy 2 hours because they said that from 2 hours is whenever 2 hours is whenever they start delivering the oral reports, right? So in 2 hours' time, they clean the house, they go to the mall, they go pick up Napoleon at the water park, they all get arrested, they get broken out, and then they go to the school in 2 hours' time.
Yep.
That sounds crazy to me, man.
Yeah, when they said 2 hours, I was like, oh, they're fucked.
Right. That's never going to happen.
No.
And there's never like a discussion about it, really. There's never like, dude, we fucking have like 20 minutes, you know. Nothing like that. They're just like, we'll get it done.
Taking their sweet time to read faxes.
Right. Dude, I know if I wanted to go to, say for instance, we wanted to go to Chuck E. Cheese, right? Or say we went to the mall on a Saturday and then we went to the water park just here in Tulsa, then that alone is going to take way more than 2 hours just because of traffic.
Yeah, and now you're talking about Southern California.
Right, of course, yeah.
Notorious for its traffic.
Oh, yeah. So it's not going to happen. And that place probably has a way better water park than us anyway. So let's see here. I wrote down, how big is that fucking phone booth? There's like 8 people crammed in that motherfucker, dude.
I do like how they show it like on its side, and they're like standing up through the door.
Yeah. They're like basically using it as like a boat. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's not bad.
But it is a big-ass phone booth.
Yeah. They fucked it up pretty good. Oh, I noticed, this actually made me laugh. This is the first time I noticed it, but Napoleon was trying to get fresh with Missy when she drove him up to the jail, I think it was.
He was?
And Napoleon was waiting out in the car with her, and then they come back to the car, and they show where Napoleon has now hopped in the front seat, and he's like trying to scoot over next to her.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
It was really funny. Really funny. Bill admit that he had a minor Oedipal complex, which I thought was funny.
A big payoff.
Yeah. It was pretty funny.
Big payoff. Because during the final presentation, Socrates like analyzes Bill, and then talks about like his dad is, or no, he analyzes Ted and talks about how his dad is pushing all this stuff on him because of his own insecurities of failure and all this stuff. And he goes, now, oh no, this is Sigmund Freud doing this.
Right.
My bad. And then Freud tells Bill to lay down, and Bill's like, I'm good. I just got a slight edible complex.
It was pretty hilarious, man.
It was, I think, the smartest moment of the movie.
I enjoyed the fact that I think that all of the parts where they were ogling Missy, I thought were funny. Every element of that joke had something enjoyable for me, I think. So I was completely down for it. It worked out really well.
You're just all about objectifying women.
I guess so.
As we clearly established in previous episodes.
I just think it's funny that... No, I mean, like the stuff where they're just commenting on her age being so young.
She's very young.
Yeah.
I like how she tells him to say hi to the history teacher for her.
Of course, yeah. I like how whenever they arrested Beethoven, he didn't notice it first because he's deaf. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, okay, so we talked about it in the opening of the show, but why did he get arrested?
I don't know. This dude's over there rocking out on the piano.
Like 6 pianos.
Dude, if I was the owner of that business, I'd be so fucking pumped, dude, to have somebody in there just killing it on the piano, get that much foot traffic in the store. Why would they arrest him?
I didn't know why they arrested Socrates.
Yeah, I don't know.
So let's go down. So Genghis Khan is the most obvious one to be arrested.
Right. Well, the kid opens fire in the store, doesn't he?
He shoots a gun in the air, so you didn't let me get there. So, Genghis Khan trashes a sporting goods store. Okay, you can get arrested for that. Billy the Kid shoots a gun in the air in the mall. Could definitely get arrested for that. I get that one.
Most likely going to happen. What's her name? Pushed the girl off the stage.
Yeah, she gets arrested for taking over an aerobics class.
Yeah.
But I guess you could say assault when she pushed her down.
Right. She pushed this girl out of the way. Security. I got you.
Yeah. Beethoven jamming.
Rocking out. What does Socrates do?
He didn't do anything. Guilty by association.
Well, he was hanging out with Billy the Kid. That's a bad move right there.
They become like fast buds.
Yeah. They're chilling, man. They're having a good time. I like at the end of the movie when all the kids hold their lighters up. Yeah. I was like, every kid in school has a lighter.
Yeah, they're all smoking.
Totally telling on yourself there, man.
It was the 80s. It was okay to smoke in high school.
It was fucking hilarious, dude. I love it. They used to write songs about it.
I do appreciate the payoff with the final presentation.
That was pretty good overall. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Except for Jonah Ark still doesn't do shit except for wooden sword fight with Bill.
I will say that once again, onto No Consequence, they literally broke somebody out of jail. You're going to jail. You stole your dad's keys.
Several somebody's.
Yeah. That's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
But everything's okay when the parents see that they were just trying to do their final
just doing their
report.
History paper. Yeah. I don't know. I think the Abe Lincoln, his whole thing kind of bugged me. The 7 minutes ago. Har, har, har. Fucking hilarious.
Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.
So stupid, man. Did not land for me at all.
The father of freedom, and that's what we get.
It's stupid. It's just dumb. But whatever. How did Rufus control the garage door at the end of the movie? Because he shows up, and then the garage door just opens on its own.
He probably has a clicker for it.
You punch that into your little phone there, buddy? I don't know. And I also wrote down, if you think that's George Carlin on the guitar, you're an idiot. So.
Oh, that wasn't him?
Obviously. Obviously that was him. Totally.
What if he could play like that, though?
That'd be cool.
Wouldn't it?
I think it would be. I'd be pissed that I hadn't seen more of it. But
I happen to be a big fan of Ellen, and I see 11-year-olds get up there and jam out.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I don't know. I did see there was one girl that was on YouTube that she was actually drumming to some, I think it was Toxicity by System of a Down.
She's
Yeah.
nasty. She's from South Korea, I want to say.
Really?
Or Japan.
I was kind of wondering if she was sort of like a, just a one-trick pony, or if she could just rock out, or if it was just like something that she learned that one deal, or...
No, she can drum.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen any other stuff of hers, so there you go. But that's pretty much all. I don't have anything else to say about this movie. I like this movie. It's lighthearted and fun and funny.
If you are a fan of the 80s and you like movies that are just silly, this is a good one for you.
Yeah. If like Stranger Things is up your alley, you might get into this. So
Stranger Things is so much better than this, though.
Oh, yeah. No, it absolutely is. But, I mean, it's got the same sort of period piece look to it. So.
It does.
That being said, what's up?
What's up?
Nothing, man. What did you watch this week? Obviously, Game of Thrones.
That's it. That's all I've watched.
Yeah?
Yeah, Nicole and I have decided to put everything else on the back burner in order to complete the series before the premiere of season 8.
I gotcha. Well, that's not too bad, man.
When we record next week, you're going to hear the giddy of a young boy in my voice.
Oh, my goodness. I'm super excited for you. Because it's on Sundays, right? Sunday nights?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's going to be that close, man. You're going to be counting the minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But this week we actually had a bit of an opportunity. I was still working some of that overtime, but we did have an opportunity to sink our teeth into that Leaving Neverland documentary. Dude, so this is a little bit of a spoiler alert, but not too much what I'm going to address on there. I did not realize how hooked up Michael Jackson was in reality to actually put a dollar amount on it. That guy was super fucking rich, bro.
He's the biggest pop star in the world.
But I just had never thought of it as far as, the amount of shit that you could buy. They talk about on there that he has a zoo with tigers and shit and an elephant and, of course, the chimps and whatnot. And, apparently he bought all these rides and they said that he had a building that was just an arcade out there and that he had a movie theater and there would be a concession stand and shit and you could just grab whatever you wanted. And I was just like, good God, man, this guy was hooked the fuck up, bro.
He was the biggest pop star in the world, and second wasn't even close.
Who was number 2?
I couldn't even tell you. It was nowhere close.
Yeah. What's funny is one of the kids that he's messing around with said that he wasn't even a big fan of his. So
he did a commercial with them or something.
Yeah, that Pepsi commercial. Yeah.
Yeah.
We did that, and I actually went through and started watching Arrested Development from the beginning. Basically, I didn't ever finish season 5 all the way through. But I basically wanted to try to watch it all over again to see if maybe season 4 was a little bit more cohesive. See if it all kind of blended a little bit better together after Netflix took over. So that way I can be nice and fresh over all the storylines whenever I go to finish season 5. So that's kind of what I've been doing right now.
Cool. Did we talk about the fact that Disney bought Fox?
We have not. Well, I think we might have on here because I remember talking about how if Disney had owned the X-Men back in the day, how we wouldn't have got Logan and Deadpool and all that shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, they're the majority shareholder of Hulu.
Of course.
And so I recently found out that's why they canceled all those Marvel shows on Netflix. Because Disney wasn't going to put any more money into the Netflix. They were going to do all their own shit on Hulu.
Right. Like the Punisher and Daredevil and all that shit. Yeah.
Right.
What was that other one? Agent Carter, I think was one. But yeah. So it sucks for the people that like those shows, but I never watched any of them, I don't think. So.
I didn't either, honestly.
Yeah, I've heard that both The Punisher and Daredevil were quite good. But I never read any Daredevil comic books, and the only exposure I have to Daredevil is that bullshit Ben Affleck movie.
Same.
And yeah, I was pretty much done after that, so it wasn't super interesting to me. Mike.
Yes.
What is up, bro? We need to talk.
Oh, okay.
About what it is that we shall be watching next week.
Yeah, we should talk about that since
We
it's your
should
pick.
watch that. Let me take a look here real quick at something.
I'm always so nervous when you pick movies, dude.
Are you?
Yes.
That's
If
funny.
you look at the history of our picks, like my picks always make a lot of sense, and I'm like you look forward to them, you know, and your picks are always like what?
I disagree, Mike. I think that my picks are often quite good, actually. So,
I think you may be biased.
well, that's entirely possible too. I'm actually trying to look something up here real quick while you were sitting there jabbering away. But what it appears as though happened was, whenever it comes down to The Matrix, it was actually number 1 at the box office for 2 weeks, and then it dropped down to a brief second place spot. The week on its third week at the box office, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so really what we're looking at this week, are you familiar with the movie called Life at all? With Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence? Yeah.
Familiar? Yes. Where they go to jail and all that stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen it. So that's what we've got to look forward to this week.
Good movie.
Oh, is it?
I like it.
Well, it's kind of getting harder and harder to find good Eddie Murphy stuff these days, you know? So he didn't do a whole lot that I'm super interested in. But
Well, one tip I will give you for this next week, Shane, you need to be watching your Office, because next Saturday is the Office Trivia Night at that bar.
Well, Mike, that's kind of an unfortunate ordeal that happened with that. As it turns out, my daughter has a ballet performance that night, and so they kind of like torpedo the whole fucking thing. So I already told everybody but you, I think. That's out. I was getting
Ballet
together
performance.
Yeah.
I was just telling
sir.
Nicole how excited I was. I finally get a day out with the guys. And you're telling me we're going to a fucking 4-year-old's ballet recital?
I mean, you don't have to go, bro. But
do they serve booze there?
I wish.
What time's the recital? Could we still get into this trivia thing?
No, because the trivia actually goes from like 4 till midnight, and this is like from 6 to 8 or whatever. It sucks. Pretty much sucks.
You should definitely told me this off air.
Mike's pretty salty right now, everybody. So
now I have to go to my goddaughter's ballet recital.
You don't have to go to that if you
Why
don't
would I
want
not
to.
go?
Well, I mean, that's up to you, sir.
I happen to love that child.
I mean, she's pretty great. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, she's okay, but I like her a lot.
Yeah, she's all right sometimes. It's like a 80-20 ratio of bad versus good. So
80% bad.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to that. This is actually a super short podcast, really.
I feel like we've stretched it out 15 minutes longer than it needed to be.
We really did.
Put them out of their misery, Shane.
Well, yeah, I guess I will. If you want to, you can email us. Our email address is cheesymovie@yahoo.com. You can look us up on YouTube. You can look us up on Instagram. You can look us up on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast from. It's Casino Royale, WCheese, all one word. Facebook, Casino Royale with cheese, all separate words. And nobody cares about Twitter. And I think that's it.
All right.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks again for joining us. I don't know anything about Live, so I'm going in pretty fresh. Looking forward to it. I like Martin Lawrence a lot. So I guess it's all good things, man.
Eddie Murphy ain't too bad.
Yeah. No, I love Eddie Murphy. I love old Eddie Murphy. I don't love this Haunted Mansion donkey from Shrek bullshit. You know? Sucks, but whatever. Anyway, everybody, make sure you join us next week for that if you really do enjoy old Eddie Murphy as much as I do. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
I'll be back.